de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, negrita de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, a todos diles que sí, pero no les digas cuando así me dijiste a mí, por eso vivo penando.
Y aquí es Jalisco, sí señor.
Me traes a mi negra que la quiero ver aquí con su rebozo de seda que le traje de Tepic. Cuando me traes a mi negra que la quiero ver aquí, con su rebozo de seda que le traje de Tepic.
Y arriba las mujeres. ¡Viva México!
Sí, señor.
Applause for the Mariachi Divas. Good morning and welcome. It is my pleasure to be with you here on this beautiful day. I am Thomas Poon, Executive Vice President and Provost for Loyola Marymount University. And since I know we are all fans of global learning, I wish you all a happy International Education Week. Today, we are here for President Snyder's Convocation. And for those of you who are newer and learning about our university traditions, the President's Convocation is an annual milestone where we gather together and build community in support of our shared values, our President's vision, and what we love best about LMU. And it is my honor to introduce Dr. Timothy Law Snyder, LMU's 16th President, for his 7th President's Convocation. This is President Snyder's 35th year as an educator and administrator at a Jesuit university. 35 years. Come on, let's give it up for that. During his career, President Snyder has held teaching and leadership positions at the Wharton School, Georgetown, Fairfield University, Loyola Maryland, and the Berklee College of Music. And he has left unique marks on each institution. You know, one such mark being that they still talk about his puns to this day. A couple weeks ago, I was at Fairfield University, and several folks who knew Tim asked me, you know, does he still do that pun thing? You know what I said? I said, what pun thing? They didn't believe me. Since his inauguration in 2015, President Snyder has set an ambitious vision for LMU, evidenced by the many impactful outcomes he has inspired. In his commitment to extend our reach beyond the bluff, we have seen a record-setting 5-fold increase in visibility, paving the way for the university's successes by promoting the distinctive educational experience we offer and elevating our reputation so that it is worthy of our academic accomplishments. And you know, the numbers demonstrate our progress. In 2015, LMU received 13,288 undergraduate applications. This year, we received 21,692 applications with the most academically qualified students ever. I was recently reviewing data about our fundraising performance under President Snyder's leadership. Our 3- and 5-year fundraising averages have set records, surpassing the fundraising totals from the Right Place, Right Time campaign, and each year that followed. And that's remarkable, and I would like to pause and say thank you to our faculty, to our deans, and to our university advancement colleagues. You know, your efforts and successes ensure our futures will be brighter. With these accomplishments, our world-class faculty, and our strategic plan as backdrops, I am excited for President Snyder to address our community today. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming President and Professor of Mathematics, Timothy Law Snyder.
Be careful going down. Appreciate it. Thank you, Executive Vice President and Provost Poon. We welcome today members of the LMU Board of Trustees, Chair Paul Viviano, Reverend Eddie Siebert, S.J., and Sister Marianne Hepper, CSJ. From our Board of Regents, Carlos Cruz Aedo. We welcome Executive Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer Lynn Scarborough. LMU faculty, staff, students, Sisters of St. Joseph of Orange, Religious of the Sacred Heart of Mary, Jesuits, interfaith leaders, alumni and friends, Aurelia Friedman on behalf of Congressmember Ted Lieu, who will represent LMU in the 33rd District beginning January 2023, LMU Loyola Law School alum and candidate for the City of LA's Council District 11, our home district, Tracy Park. We welcome our Convocation Committee. We welcome and thank our student workers who assembled all this today. And we welcome and thank Grammy Award-winning Mariachi Divas for today's producer and Visioneer John Flaherty. Thank you for that intense performance. I thank each of you for joining us this morning, and I also welcome those who are joining us via live stream. As part of LMU's recognition of our history, location, and relationship to the indigenous communities in Los Angeles, let us acknowledge the Tongva peoples as the traditional land caretakers of Tavangar, that's the Los Angeles Basin and Southern Channel Islands, and the presence of LMU on this traditional and unceded land. We are grateful to live, learn, and create in this place. For this year's convocation, I had several topics I was considering, but in speaking with members of our faculty and staff, particularly our senates, and in visits with our student development professionals and our alumni, we discussed how members of our community want to know more about what we are doing as a university, where we are going, particularly to how we are addressing the challenges that we face as a society. So with this as a setting, I will speak today to this topic. And I will begin with one particular tension, then speak to the directions in which our strategic plan and comprehensive campaign are taking us. I'll then share tales from recent fundraising events and conclude about 6 hours later by describing tomorrow's LMU. Intention is indeed the title of my talk today, so I will start by recognizing the many tensions we are all feeling at this moment. Tensions, as you know, abound at present. We have fiscal worries, geopolitical and existential crises, threats to democracy, threats to our common home, our planet, and climate calamities erupting from inept stewardship of our inventions. We're experiencing racist attacks, hate speech, anti-Semitism, systemic oppression of women in Iran and across the globe, even in our very backyard. Gun violence, including, again, on our campuses, and social media madness, and sadly, this is only the short list. Now, to be sure, every era has had its tensions, but we feel the strain of them collectively and more intensely at this moment, in part because we can now consume and share all things wrong so easily, so rapidly. We at LMU are not alone. These stresses are happening everywhere, and we will collectively and personally be dealing with the fallout from the pandemic alone for years to come. It has impacted our economy, with inflation reaching 9% earlier this year. It's now at 7.7. It has impacted our families, our emotions, our bonds of social trust, our capacity, and our endurance. It has also impacted society's perception of the value of higher education in ways that call us to answer with confidence and conviction. At LMU, we can address this tension directly. I have worked at now 8 universities. This is the first. This is the only at which our professors routinely declare that our students are their top priority. This includes Nobelist, Pulitzer, and Fulbright faculty. At dinners with students, which Carol and I host every month, we hear about how much our faculty care about not just all of our students, but each of our students. We hear also of our student affairs professionals and how they help students become persons for and with others. And again, not all of our students, but each of our students. And this is how we at LMU realize the education of the whole person, which epitomizes Catholic social teaching by recognizing the dignity and God-given value of each of our students. Our job, ultimately, it's pretty simple: to help coalesce each of the dispositions of our students into something that helps them become what I call vectors for the greater good. And this can, if we succeed, blossom into an exponentiation of the greater good as each of our students in their current and future worlds leads others to do the same. That's a bravo, y'all. This is really something. Nobody else is doing it the way we're doing it. And meanwhile, our faculty scholarship, Provost Poon, is soaring. In 2018, what we had already accomplished helped us become an R2, nationally recognized university. And our research and development expenditures increased 62%, from shy of $8 million in 2018 to now in 2021, last time we measured it, nearly $13 million, demonstrating that others are recognizing the quality of our faculty's achievements and funding them. We were awarded a chapter of Phi Beta Kappa not after what we heard, David Sapp, was typically a try, thrice, and hope application process. We were named following our first application. These honors resulted directly from our faculty's success. And we don't just teach and accompany well. We also understand that affording our premium education requires premium sacrifice. So we support students with financial aid, which nearly 85% of our undergraduate student body receive, and we assure that they begin their careers in ways honorable and solid, where their work is aligned with their passions. And that is why and how we placed, last year, within 6 months of graduation, 98% of our students into full-time employment or graduate or professional schools or service during a pandemic. And supported 15 Fulbright finalists over the last 3 years. Now, why are our students so sought after? Why do we so often hear of how valued they are? In large part, because of our liberal arts core. Our students are given a survey of all that is known. They learn how to think, read, write, process information with perspective and nuance, how to imagine what might be possible, and how to work with others in ways that allow everybody to flourish. And, as is consistent with our curriculum, with our co-curriculum, with our scholarship, our students' North Star is one of purpose, one that is directed toward the well-being of others, those here, those to come, and of course, of the earth as well. Summarized, we approach higher education with intention. And that's a bravo, LMU. Thank you. LMU's value is recognized, and we sustain that value by working continually to get better. So where do we go from here? Our roadmap for our efforts is our strategic plan, supported by an infusion of new resources from our comprehensive fundraising campaign. Each is built on one observation. As we look toward our human future, a future that's riddled with even more seemingly insurmountable challenges and tensions, we are drawn to focus on 3 commitments. First, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Second, creativity and innovation. Third, expanding our reach and impact. Each of these fulfills our mission. Each secures a better future with the intention of creating the world we want to live in. So let's peer into these strategic priorities, beginning with diversity. If we seek to have the most creative persons working together to solve human and earthly problems, we must assure that all creative persons are involved. We need all human talent at the proverbial table, sharing insights from different identities, perspectives, lived experiences. But for us to be diverse in this way, we also must assure equity so that each powerful voice is at the table charged with the power of solution. Equity enables inclusion. Deliberate inclusion yields diversity. Diversity brings wonder. And thus, DEI is central to our educational mission, while also being deeply grounded in Catholic social teaching, which speaks to the immutable dignity of each person born and to the contributions that a blessed diversity of members makes in the image of God. This impulse toward greater inclusion is central to our strategic plan and our campaign initiatives to improve access, to bring the most creative minds to this very place, LMU. And many such individuals are ready for an LMU education and they can indeed become that vector for the greater good, but not all can afford to make that happen, as we know. And this is why we seek to double our endowment in financial aid through our campaign. So far, we have raised in the campaign $80 million in scholarship support, 2/3 of which is endowed. You may not know, LMU has more than 30 transfer and pathway agreements. Tom Gudo is nodding. And growing, we're creating more. And these are with community colleges throughout California and Arizona. And on a per capita basis, we have more transfer agreements than any of our competitors. Pick one. And that's correct. As you know, an increasing number of students intentionally plan for financial reasons to attend community colleges for 2 years and then move on to 4-year institutions, but financial assistance is often necessary. Our campaign will build bridges that allow these students to realize their dreams and become those very vectors toward a brighter human future. We are also hiring and retaining the best minds available. We are proud to welcome one of our most talented and diverse cohorts of faculty and executives this fall. And we will strive to do even better on the faculty scale next fall. Our Recruiting and Hiring Teacher Scholars for Mission initiative seeks to attract an ethnically diverse, gender-balanced faculty with the intention of enhancing our educational goals and the quality of the LMU experience by broadening our talent base. Always with an eye toward improvement and greater impact, we are mindful of the need to enhance our curriculum and pedagogy with these concepts in mind. The recently announced $2.5 million Driving Change grant from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute exemplifies our faculty's incessant desire to learn more and gain more knowledge about systemic racism, while also ensuring greater equity for students from underrepresented backgrounds in the STEM fields. That should get a round of applause. I've worked at 8 universities, and I've never been at one that had the Hughes Grant. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Naz. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, faculty. Catholic social teaching indeed speaks to us being born in the image of God, the Creator. When God breathed life into us, we were blessed with the purpose to, as God did, create. This restless desire is at the heart of our mission, especially when viewed as the essence of St. Ignatius's Magis. Innovation and adaptability, our second commitment, is how we progress and enact impactful changes creatively. Uplifted by our Catholic, Jesuit, and Marymount values, our strategic plan and campaign assure that we will continue to improve society by encouraging a culture of experimentation and risk-taking, dismantling silos, boosting interdisciplinary and co-curricular collaborations to meet the challenges that are coming toward us. And to do so the LMU way, morally, ethically, as persons for and with others. This is in our wheelhouse. Just look at what we've been doing. Our innovation in digital education and leadership, IDEAL Institute, embedded in the LMU School of Education, works with school districts and educational leaders to implement educational technology and blended teaching and learning methods that are beneficial to all types of learners. The IDEAL Institute, by the way, was the first group on our campus to use Zoom. And it did so about 10 years ago, so before Dean Young even got here. A disability rights slogan from the 90s, "Nothing about us without us," recognizes that all policy decisions affect the disability community. Our Coelho Center for Disability Law, Policy, and Innovation addresses this important tension and, in close coordination with our LMU Loyola Law School, trains, empowers, and mobilizes the next generation of disability advocates. One of the center's, amen. One of the center's most interesting innovations is a partnership with Verizon and Waymap, and they have made LMU and the world more navigable for people with disabilities, particularly those who are blind or sight impaired. Check it out, it's on the web, it's quite cool. Our alumni, our lifelong lions, our ambassadors, the students whom we taught, formed and accompanied on their journeys, are out there in the universe searching for solutions to the problems of the universe. And along the way, they're giving back to their alma mater to ensure that our mission continues to soar. Just look at Tom Mueller, space travel visionary. I guess now incidentally, class of 1992, and one of the world's leading experts in, of all things, propulsion, who recently gave us a $5 million gift to establish an aerospace propulsion lab in the Seaver College of Science and Engineering. Tom Mueller, thank you. Bless you. And with this Drollinger Family Stage and our SFTV Howard B. Fitzpatrick Pavilion, and eventually our Engineering Innovation Complex and Performing Arts Complex, which are part of our campaign, we are harnessing our interdisciplinary prowess and enabling outcomes that honor our traditions and meet a future that will rely in ways unprecedented on our collective creativity. By working together to improve upon our human inventions in spaces constructed with creativity at the forefront of their purpose, we are unlocking new gateways for deeper learning. And in the process, we are igniting new partnerships, inspiring further collaborations, yes, purposefully creating the world we want to live in, which brings me, that phrase, to our third commitment, extending our reach and our impact. When I arrived at LMU, I pledged that we would cease to be LA's best kept secret. We hadn't done anything wrong. It was okay. And I sought also that we would refresh not just our approach to how we speak about ourselves, but even the ways in which we think about ourselves. That we would act intentionally to elevate LMU's reputation so that the distinguished scholarship and teaching excellence of our faculty, the life-changing work of our student affairs team, and the stellar achievements of our students could receive the recognition that they earned and deserve, encouraging yet more outstanding learners and educators to view LMU as their destination of choice, helping to pave the way for our enrollment and other successes. I am proud that we made that commitment and are seeing it through, and I think it's self-evident that LMU's global impact is stronger and its future brighter as a result. I recognize that this choice, like any significant choice, has given rise to its own share of tensions, and of course, it has taken time for the benefits to emerge, but they're here. Raising our profile and telling our story has never been an end in itself. It is the means to realizing in full our mission. The better known we are, and the more philanthropic support we receive, and those two items are positively correlated, the more opportunities unfold for our students and our faculty to encourage learning. This is part of extending our reach. Provost Poon referred to another, and that is to recognize that the more engaged we are with the world around us, the more our students can experience transformative insights that will help them to grow as whole persons and serve faith and promote justice throughout their lives as those very vectors. Meeting the demands of our increasingly interconnected society requires us to be amply engaged with the world. Global mindedness, foreign language acquisition, intercultural competence, and adaptability all translate to influential, world-changing, and yes, employable lions. To this end, Provost Poon and his team have boosted study abroad opportunities by 63%. International enrollment has increased by 12%. And we obtained observer status in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So happy International Education Week indeed. Here's to the champions of our global imagination, our now 1,000 international students, our now roughly 24, I almost said 1,000, international faculty members, and our Fulbright scholars, past, present, and future, and of course our Lions who are participating in our now 106 study abroad programs. And with the help of our campaign, through international scholarships, LMU will recruit even more global citizens to the benefit of all who are educated here, and we will include many international students who are the first in their families to go to college. So how do we invigorate these efforts? Indeed, we do it in addition to our brain power, in addition to our hard work, we do it through philanthropy, which we have been intensifying. I have been on the road lately with our deans, with members of our advancement team, and others telling the LMU story, singing your praises at a series of fundraising events across the United States. We've been calling these events Beyond the Bluff, and we are beyond excited to speak with alumni, parents, donors, and friends about how LMU plans to benefit our world. So here are a couple tales from the road. In Seattle, I had a conversation with a parent concerning business ethics and how disheartening it is to hear so many stories of deception, particularly in the startup ecosystem. And I was proud to share how our CBA Master of Science in Entrepreneurship and Sustainable Innovations seeks to address this age-old tension by developing leaders who are responsible, ethical, and values-centered. In Boston, while chatting with a donor, I shared that our Media Center for Arts and a Just Society breaks down the silos that too frequently prevent action, prevent change. And they were so impressed to learn that this collaboration between BCLA, CFA, and SFTV unites students from all storytelling disciplines and encourages them to embrace the tensions of the world and with purpose create something that inspires hearts, inspires minds, and propels, there's that propulsion again, people to act with their actions based on truth, concept, humanity, truth. In a couple of days, we'll be in San Francisco speaking with alumni about why their investment in the campaign matters and how they can help us reach our ambitious goal of $750 million for student scholarships, 4 endowed chairs and professorships, and 4 competitive academic facilities. No surprise, the audiences love hearing our successes because they love LMU. They are appreciative and they are proud because they know that their alma mater is improving in its ability to fulfill its mission and impact the world. They can see the work of our faculty, student development professionals, and staff, what we're doing every day, and the choices we are making together. And they can see how it will enhance the value of an LMU degree for them and for all present and future Lions. And with intention, they want to invest in LMU's future, our future, and they have. We recently surpassed the $250 million point in the campaign and continue to pursue gifts ambitiously as we approach the campaign's coming public phase. So many of you were involved in this and still are. Warm thanks to each of you. So, sunshine, where is LMU at present, and where will we be in 5 years? Together, we have been working our way through the tensions of our time with intention, making purposeful strategic choices now to position LMU strongly for the future, and to open up even greater opportunities for our students and alumni to impact the world for good. In 5 years, we will be a community that is more equity conscious, more intentionally anti-racist, and more inclusive in everything we do, our curriculum, our pedagogy, our student life experience. We will be known as a university that recognized and partnered with the beautiful zeal of this moment's students, whom I call not Generation Z, I call them the Solidarity Generation. This is one that is tightly in tune with our sacred mission, giving us an extraordinary opportunity. Through improved scholarship fundraising, expanded pathway programs for community college students, more universal access to high-impact learning practices, and by formally attaining recognition by the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities as an HSI, that's an Hispanic serving institution, we will become an exemplar for successfully recruiting, retaining, and supporting creative students who must overcome obstacles in their search for a best educational experience. We're going to do this. Five years from now, our increasingly innovative and interdisciplinary curriculum and our commitment to deepened research and discovery will distinguish LMU as a place where the world's thorniest problems are being engaged creatively and constructively. Students will choose LMU for our academic quality, as well as for our creativity and concern for justice and the common good, for our success in international education, experiential and engaged learning, and reflective, collaborative, multidisciplinary partnerships in the classroom and beyond. And yes, they will pack, they will jam Gersten and other venues as our athletic success also continues to rise. Go Lions. Go Lions! That's how you say go Lions. Through our interdisciplinary core curriculum, new interdisciplinary degree programs and concentrations, and a creativity-ready campus anchored by our new performing arts complex and engineering innovation complex, we will be the premier destination for the most ethically minded students, inventors, performers, dreamers who use their combinatorial creativity to imagine transformative works with lasting impact. Through the Provost's strategic investments in startup funding for new graduate and professional programs and in improved research infrastructure, our educational impact will continue to blossom. In 5 years, LMU will set a national standard for whole person education, sustained through personalized connections in a student-centered community. One where academic affairs and student affairs are not just on the same page, but are working together collaboratively on transformative initiatives. Bravo to each of those divisions. We will be known not only for our improved retention and graduation rates, but also for a deepened sense of belonging and a more supportive and engaging learning environment for undergraduate students, graduate and professional students, distance learners, and post-traditional students. So throughout these tense times, through our fears of the future and our many worries of every day, I remain optimistic about the world we live in because I am aware of what this university, LMU, can do. This positivity that I feel, the positivity that gets me through every day, that gives me hope for tomorrow, comes from each of you. The life-changing work of our students, faculty, student development professionals, staff, board members, and alumni, your unshakable courage and your perseverance amidst unrelenting pressures. You care for one another. your solidarity, and your love, your conversations, which helped me in my discernment process and which enabled LMU to increase the base pay for our lowest compensated workers to $21. Thank you for that guidance. Thank you for your leadership. Now, I know the pressures of your work collide daily with the many pressures in our personal lives. I know there are times when we find these pressures difficult to bear, and yet you remain dedicated. You help us work through these tensions with, indeed, intention. So amidst LMU's many and increasing accomplishments, if at any time you feel alone, if you feel unseen, I hope you can step back and recognize the full impact that LMU, through your work, is having on the world beyond our day-to-day. I hope that you can feel as I feel about you. I love you. I hope you can know that what you are doing is creating the world we want to live in, and that through that, we are in ways that transcend each of our contributions, doing God's work in creating a better world, a more inclusive world, and a more harmonious and joyful world. So, bless our dear university, bless each of you, and from the heart, thank you. Appreciate you.
Give it up again for our inspiring leader, President Timothy Law Snyder. You know, they say that there's no such thing as a free lunch, but there really is a free lunch behind me and to your left on St. Rob's lawn. So please join, let's all gather in celebration, conversation, what's the other C? And chow. Let's do it. Thank you, everyone.